Hey there, this is Lynn. I've just completed 45 weeks on the carnivore diet, and so I'm here today to report on my results and just let you guys know how things have been the past week. It's been kind of an odd week for me, and I think a big thing is like a week ago Monday, so a week ago from today, my husband started on a new work schedule. Every 3 months, his work schedule changes. And he chose an insane schedule where he has to get up at like 1:45 in the morning to start work at 3. And so it's been kind of messing my sleep up. I think 3 or 4 days this past week, I didn't even get to sleep until like 4 something. There's something just bizarre about him and his work schedule changing and me not being able to get to sleep. Maybe it's because he's leaving in the middle of the night and there's just this weirdness about that. I don't know. But anyways, I also had an interesting week from the perspective of I was feeling depressed. I never get depressed. Now, I have a theory behind it. So, my daughter is getting married in under 4 weeks. In this past week, she was house sitting. And so she was gone and staying at someone else's house, dog sitting for them. And it was like, I think that's why I was depressed, to be honest, because I was kept thinking, we only have 4 weeks left and she's spending a whole week somewhere else. And her and I are really close. And we spend, quite a bit of time together. And especially since my husband goes to sleep early, a lot of times our evenings are spent together. And so she was not here. I think I got a little taste of the whole empty nester thing that's going to be coming up in a few weeks. And it was making me feel really down. And I don't like feeling like that. And so maybe the lack of sleep was contributing as well. But it was a bit of a challenging week for me from an emotional perspective. And, I didn't cheat on my diet. I've been trying to eat more because I've been, concerned about my hair loss because of I'm assuming it's because of all the weight loss and I haven't been eating enough. And so I've been trying to eat more. I've been working on my jumping challenge and I'm going to be posting another video. I'm doing really well on that. I'm not posting videos every day like I do with the plank challenge. That was a lot, but I am doing well on that and I'm progressing each day. I'm getting more airborne jumps in. And so I feel like that's coming along really well. We did go dress shopping for my Mother of the Bride dress. And we went to a couple of places and I ended up buying a dress at the bridal shop. Now, I haven't told my daughter this, but I'm actually having second thoughts about the dress that I chose. So we'll see. I thought it was beautiful. It's really a beautiful dress. But then when I looked at myself in pictures, I thought, it kind of makes me look fat. And I compared to some of the other dresses that I tried on. And it also maybe seems a little bit too fancy for what I'm looking for. Because I am kind of hoping to get a dress that I can wear again and not just have it be a one-time thing. So I'm actually considering going back to the drawing board and looking again for another dress that's not quite so fancy. And I've been telling my husband that I want to go to the Seattle Symphony. And I don't want to dress formal, but I want to be able to dress nice. And so I'm thinking maybe of looking for a dress that I could wear, even if I have to shorten it. I mean, I'm going to be wearing a long dress for the wedding, but one that would maybe be easy to shorten and make into more of a shorter but more formal dress for a nice occasion like the symphony would be really great. I absolutely love music. And before the pandemic, we were going a lot to theater. In Seattle, there's a lot of off-Broadway productions and a lot of those Broadway traveling, theater companies that come through. And we do have a lot of like Tony Award winning actors that come to Seattle and perform there in theaters. The Fifth Avenue Theater in downtown Seattle is really, really famous. It has some incredible productions. The Paramount Theater in Seattle is also really, really well known. And we used to go a lot and go see musicals, different theater productions there. So, but we had not gone to the symphony before. And we've gone to a couple of the other theaters and listened to just musical performances. Like we watched the piano guys perform, and that was amazing. That is where I learned. Now, if you don't know who the piano guys are, you got to look them up on YouTube. They have a massive YouTube channel. And they were kind of, I don't know if they were the first ones that would go to these really beautiful locations and bring their grand piano there, and the one guy plays the cello and perform in these unbelievably gorgeous locations all over the world. But that's really popular now to do. I don't know if they were one of the first to do that, but they've been around for a long time. But at their concert is where I learned that I will spontaneously cry during a live cello solo. I didn't know that I would do that, but there were 2 cello solos during the concert. And I was sitting there listening, and just with no control whatsoever, I had tears coming down my face. I think I'm probably an empath in a lot of ways, but when it comes to music, I absolutely am. My body physically reacts and responds to music. We went to another piano concert, and this was, I forget the guy's name. It was like an Italian name, and it was pretty incredible. And that was another one where it was just like, you could hardly breathe throughout the whole thing. And I was sitting and watching my husband sitting next to me, and he was just transfixed, like absolutely hardly blinked the whole time, because it was just like so soul stirring. So I miss doing that sort of thing. So I have reasons to wear a different dress. See, I got on a tangent about the dress. Another thing with those theaters is, especially the older ones, they are built in the 1800s, and they were built for people that were sized dinky back in the 1800s. And I remember going to these productions and just squeezing myself into those seats. So I'm really looking forward to going back and to see how I fit in the seats now, because I know it's going to be a lot more comfortable for sure. But anyways, all of that to coming back full circle to I may be looking for another dress. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, so we do have a bachelorette getaway. My daughter invited me to her bachelorette. It's not a weekend because it's like a Thursday through Saturday, but we're going to be heading out this week. And Thursday's my birthday, so it'll be kind of a birthday celebration. I'll be 56 on Thursday. And so next weigh-in on next Monday, we'll see if that metabolic age goes up, because right now my scale still thinks I'm 62. So we'll see when I turn 56, is it going to bump me up to 63? I don't know. I'm going to have to double check and see if I put my exact birth date into my app, or if I just put the month. So if I just put the month, we'll have to see what happens in May. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. It's still 62. But anyways, with that said, my results this week were pretty much flatlined. Like nothing happened. I gained 0.2. So pretty much nothing happened. One of the interesting things is that my subcutaneous fat percentage, and I typically don't look at percentages, but I was just kind of intrigued because the percentage went down just like a tad, but a lot of other percentages went down. My muscle mass stayed the same as far as the actual like pounds. My bone mass stayed the same. My BMR went up by 1. So something's happening. Something happened that improved a little bit as far as subcutaneous fat and my BMR that was probably too small and insignificant to register on the scale. I just thought it was really interesting that that happened. But otherwise, my fat-free body weight, stayed exactly the same. So nothing changed enough to nudge any of those numbers that I really look at. So my actual fat for the weeks, according to this, I gained 0.2 of fat, which is, again, completely insignificant. with all the stuff that's going on and me eating more and me not sleeping well and me feeling depressed and all of this stuff, I'm not surprised whatsoever. That this is, I think, the third time I've had a little bit of a gain, and it's always like 0.2. So it's nothing that I'm worried about, and things always correct themselves. Um, I'm just not really too concerned about it. I mean, the bigger concern I have is my hair loss, and I'm wanting to make sure I'm getting enough protein, and maybe talking about potentially cutting back further on the fat. In fact, if you watch our book club on Sunday, Kim and Carrie and I have the book club, and Kim is from Carnivore Nurse Kim, Carrie is from My Metamorphosis, and the three of us, we're going through Nina Teicholz's book, The Big Fat Surprise. And this is our third book. And so we're talking about fat. And we were just having a texting chat. Sorry, I got an itch on my back. We were just having a texting chat right before I came on to film about dietary fat. And Kim had sent us a video to watch and about fat. All right, my screen just froze. So anyways, one of the things she mentioned at the end of our book club is what we thought about whether we need to add dietary fat, like added fat, like putting butter on your steaks, and when we have a lot of fat to lose. And because she's kind of going back and forth, she's in a stall, I hear a bunch of things about fat, and I think that we're going to learn a lot from this book, because this whole book is about fat. And so we're going to learn the science behind all of the things that are talked about out there in the nutrition world about fat versus the reality. But I've kind of maybe been adding a little bit more fat, and it's more just because of bowels, wanting to make sure my bowels stay regulated. But it does seem like when I add more fat that my weight loss stalls, or it's very, very slow. So I do think there is something to be said about living off of the fat you have on your body. And so I may cut back on the fat and see what happens. And I know I need fat. Like, I'll eat the fatty meats, I'll eat my ribeye, and but I have been adding like heavy whipping cream to my coffee in the morning. So maybe I'll stop doing that. And just kind of tweak the fat a little bit and see if that makes a difference. But who knows what my cortisol levels are with the weird sleep patterns and with just the anticipation of the wedding, anticipation of it being an empty nester. Yeah. So we'll see how things go. But overall, at least the rebounding is going well. I'm not feeling depressed today. It was only maybe a couple of days this past week that I was feeling depressed, and I just got through it. Didn't make it too big of a deal out of it. I usually try to think about, like, why am I feeling depressed? Is it hormonal? Is it something I'm eating? Is it, just try to do that root cause analysis behind it. I just really feel it's the reality setting in that my daughter is moving out, and this is it. She's not coming back. Now, she did move out before, but she came back. This time, she's not coming back. And so it's just going to be me and Dave, and we're going to kind of figure out life, just the two of us again. And I know it's going to be good. We went geocaching again over the weekend, had a good time, just a little bit. We didn't do it like we did last week, but it's kind of going to be a huge life change. So I'm okay with how my body responds. I think I know I've mentioned to one of you in the comments about the sleep that, my daughter and I have this thing. We have these mother-daughter, evenings after Dave goes to sleep, and we end up staying up pretty late, just kind of watching stuff on Netflix together and hanging out together. And I'm kind of wanting to keep doing that all month instead of making myself go to bed earlier, because once she's married, that's it. No more of those mother-daughter nights together and late nights. So I don't know. I'm just going to have to think about it, and maybe I'll just start with cutting the fat down and see how that does with my wait and see if I can kind of break this little stall if I just cut back on the dietary fat. And then once she gets married, then work on the sleep thing. Yeah. So we got to make these choices, right? We got to weigh and kind of our mental health, the things that are going on in our lives with our physical health. I'm feeling fine. Okay, yeah, I'm a little tired because of the weird sleep schedule, but I don't have gut issues. My gut feels fine. I don't feel bad. So I do feel okay. If I was having a lot of joint pain and having a lot of issues, it would be another thing. I would really be looking at making some modifications, but I'm not feeling bad. I'm feeling pretty good. So anyways, that's it for this week. And we'll see what happens if I tweak my fat consumption. And it's going to be interesting too, going on this getaway. We're staying at a timeshare. We have timeshares all over the place. We're WorldMark owners, and so we have timeshares all over the place. And we're going to be staying at Leavenworth, not the concentration camp, but Leavenworth, Washington. And I've brought it up in previous videos, but it is an amazing, like Bavarian village. And there's definitely meat, definitely German sausages. There's German food. But the place that we're staying has a full kitchen. So I'll just grab my steaks and make sure I'm eating my steaks. And I got plenty of beef sticks. And I think I'm going to do just fine with my eating. I decide ahead of time that I'm going to do fine. And I found that when I decide ahead of time and I just make that conscientious decision about how I'm going to eat and I come prepared and I don't leave any room for eating things that are off my plan because I know I'm going to feel horrible afterwards, I do fine. And so I'm going to enjoy the non-food aspects of this getaway and not be worried about feeling deprived. I've definitely gotten past feeling deprived when other people are eating a variety of foods and I'm not. I'm okay with that. It's all right. And I am fine with watching them eat, and I eat my meat and we're all good. So anyways, I guess I'll be reporting next week on how that weekend goes or the getaway goes. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. She's got a fun bridal party. So anyways, that's it for today. And I hope everyone's having a wonderful week. I'll be posting more rebounding videos later. So I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.